coming in for waiting. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another wonderful Wednesday webinar with Mel Strickland. She's a bit of a legend from the lawyers team. She's been an activist and campaigner for many years. I'm sure she could tell you a lot more about her back history, but she's working with a great group called Lawyers Are Responsible. We talk about system change. How do we change the system? Changing the legal system is one of the big things we need, from ecocide law to lawyers standing up and pushing back. So without too much further ado, over to Mel to tell us about the great work you're doing with Lawyers Are Responsible. Thank you so much for coming, Mel. Over.
Yeah, thanks so much, Phoenix. Yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah, I'll just jump straight in. So yeah, I'm a practicing lawyer. I am really glad to be part of a group called Lawyers Are Responsible. So this is a collective of lawyers that launched in spring last year. I've put the link in the chat. So the purpose of Lawyers Are Responsible is to try and align the UK legal system with the planetary conditions that are livable for current and future generations by delegitimising legal and judicial support for acts which, according to the best available science, jeopardise the conditions which make the planet livable. And secondly, legitimising acts of those who peacefully resist. So when Lawyers Are Responsible launched last year, they did so with a declaration of conscience that nearly 200 lawyers signed, and that can be found on the website. That sets out the science in brief, that conditions on life are threatened, that it makes a demand to the government to act appropriately, and importantly sets out the grave risk to the rule of law, and states that the lawyers who sign that declaration will withhold their legal services in respect of fossil fuel projects. So they refuse to enable fossil fuel projects to continue, and that they will withhold their legal services in respect of climate protesters. So they won't prosecute anyone who's exercising their democratic rights in that respect. In fact, I think the declaration is broader than that. I think it says that they won't. Actually, I should have it in front of me, really. The wider goal is to support peaceful activists generally, and not have a narrow view that it has to be climate, in recognition that everything is interlinked. So, for example, Palestine activists, in resisting the genocide that's taking place there, they're also have a pro-life approach, because you know, I'm probably preaching to the converted here, but there's a very close intersection between the war machine and the destruction of the planet. So yeah, so we launched spring last year, and since then we've done lots of exciting things. We've been canvassing outside Magic Circle law firms and speaking to lawyers about what their employers are doing to enable the fossil fuel industry.
What does Magic Circle mean, Mel? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to come to that because I realise that's jargon. So the Magic Circle law firms are they're 5 UK-based firms that are like, you know, the biggest firms, and they are yeah, they're major fossil fuel enablers in the legal sector. They make vast amounts. The lawyers that work there make vast amounts of money. So we've been doing that. We've been holding meetings and writing. Well, with these law firms, we've written to them. We've written legal what's called cease and desist letters to these firms, so asking them to cease and desist acting for the fossil fuel industry and setting out the reasons why. So all these formal letters are up on our website, and you can read them, and you can read about any responses that we've had from these firms. We've been canvassing at law fairs. So part of our strategy is also to cut off the pipeline of talent to these law firms. So the law firms want to get the best students to come and work for them, and we go to the law fairs and we speak to the students. We present them with research by a organisation that we're very friendly with called the Law Students for Climate Accountability. So they produce excellent research reports each year about you can see them on the website. Yeah, Law Students for Climate Accountability produce very good research reports each year about what all the major law firms are doing in the climate space, and they rate the firms as well. So, for example, all the magic law firms are rated F, worst possible rating, and a lot of American firms as well are in that F category. Yeah, so we've been collaborating with other campaigns whose aims overlap with ours. Most closely Law Students for Climate Accountability, but also many other groups like Fossil Free London and so on. Oh, and also doctors and other professionals. We've commissioned expert KC, King's Counsel, advice on conscientious objection. So the idea is that we're trying to empower lawyers within some of these firms to be able to say no to enabling fossil fuel companies, and that advice is available on our website now. We've also written dozens of letters and solidarity statements and character evidence for activists who are facing disciplinary or legal process for their climate activism. So we've done this for a number of doctors, for example, like Sarah Ben and Dr. Diana Walker, who are facing sanctions by the General Medical Council for their climate activism and prison sentences. We've written to the Prime Minister about oil licensing. We've produced a statement about the student occupations against the genocide in Gaza, and we've also written to all vice chancellors of universities in the country, setting out the legal case not to discipline students who take part in occupations opposing the genocide in Gaza. So that's the kind of thing that we do. Most excitingly, which I'm going to show you now, we've been doing, we've moved into the escalations phase of the campaign, and we've been doing some kind of cool actions this past month. So I'll just show you some of that now. And these actions have got, oh shit, no, wait, I have to share the screen first, sorry. Oh God. Right, yeah, hopefully this is going to work. Share screen.
Yep, you're a co-host.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
beaming in as we go.
should work in
Welcome,
theory,
Ellen.
shouldn't it?
Yep, we can see it. Over.
Can you see the Law Gazette?
Climate campaign and stage protest at London law firms. It says.
Wicked, cool. Yeah, yeah, last month I organised a climate crisis exhibition outside Magic Circle law firm A&O Sherman, and Aiken, which is an American law firm just next door, and we had these portraits by Gideon Mendel, and we stood there for just over an hour, and it, that was the goal of it was to bring a flavour of climate crisis to the law firms, to the lawyers, to get them to confront the reality of what their firm or potentially what their own actions directly are causing. So these pictures by Gideon Mendel, they're of people who stare out from an environmental catastrophe. They've been flooded out, and sometimes people are like up to their necks in water. And Gideon sort of travelled the world to get these photos. So it's it's people from the global south, but it's also sometimes people from Europe. And they're very impactful photographs. And we also did a bit of singing whilst we were there for some of it. And yeah, it was really great. It was really great action. In fact, wouldn't mind showing you. So Ricky, who does Real Media, he's like legend,
We
came
love
along.
Ricky.
Yeah, we love Ricky. Yeah, and covered it. And if you like, I can show you. I can.
Mm. Good. We can see the video volume. We can see the video, but no volume. I don't know if you can turn it up, Mel, or
Oh
one or the
shit!
other. If not, just the videos are cool.
Oh, you can't hear the volume. Oh, how do I do that? I
Not
can hear the
yeah.
volume.
Do it on there and also on your computer. So turn it up on YouTube and on the computer. On your computer.
My computer.
Both, and hopefully we'll get it when it's playing.
It seems like my volume's up.
Okay, it's up on YouTube. It's up on your volume. Play again.
Could you hear that or not? Because that was like really loud.
Try again. Press play.
I'll try again.
Can't hear anything yet. Oh dear. Maybe if you're playing it directly on the actual YouTube link, but for some reason it doesn't seem to. I mean, we can see what's going on though. Maybe talk us through it, or try and launch it in YouTube and try to see if that works. Try it on the actual YouTube. If you click on the YouTube thing, there's a last go. If not, just talk us through it. I think that's quite visual. Out on YouTube. There we go. Maybe we'll get the volume there. Don't know. Okay. No, not to worry. Talk us through it then, Mel. We've got subtitles, so that helps. We've got subtitles. Maybe just talk us through the video, Mel, probably at the stage. Oh, I don't know whether we can hear your voice. Hello? Hello? No? Your audio is off, Mel. Let's switch it on. There we go. All right, there's Shane Collins appearing. Mel, can we hear it? Test? Yeah, I can hear your voice. Keep talking. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry. I knew if I tried to do if I tried to do anything technical, it would just mess up.
Don't worry. Play the video and talk us through, or tell us what was on the video. It's okay.
It's just like a brief video with some singing that we did outside A&O Sherman, and some different people from Lawyers Are Responsible talking about why they were there, why it was significant, the fact that of A&O Sherman being a major fossil fuel enabler. A&O Sherman actually is based in Bishop's Square, right near Spitalfields Market, so it's in a very, very public space, and it's like 2 minutes walk from Liverpool Street, so it's quite a good place for a protest and a climate crisis exhibition, because there's lots of members of the public, aside from lots of lawyers, which was the main target. Really wanted to, as I said, confront the lawyers with the reality of their work and why they get paid so much money. One of A&O Sherman's long-standing clients is ADNOC, or Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, which is currently significantly expanding oil and gas extraction, and will do so until 2027 at least. So this is a major fossil fuel enabler. I think the law firms are, it's really apt right now that we target them, because historically the law firms have just gotten away with it. They've gotten away with being major enablers of the fossil fuel industry, and no one has ever kind of noticed before, or targeted them before, or held them accountable for what they're doing. So like the banks, the insurers, the PR companies, all these other enablers have been exposed and been targeted, but it's only now that people are paying attention to the law firms. So that was a month ago, that climate crisis exhibition. That went down really well. Lots of coverage, both in the legal press and in the activist press. Then a couple of weeks ago, so that was on 13th of November. On the 29th of November, we had an occupation. We worked, Lawyers Are Responsible collaborated with doctors for XR and scientists for XR. And we did an occupation of the lobbies of all the 5 Magic Circle law firms who are based in central London. Clifford Chance is based in Canary Wharf, and that was also very successful. So people went inside for about an hour with banners, and yeah, that was great. And I can show you. Oh, let me share my screen. I'll just show you some pictures. I won't kind of waste your time by trying to do anything too full on. God, sorry about this. Let me just get my screen back. Okay.
All right, got it.
Thanks for the moral support. Yeah.
It's brilliant work you're doing. Great actions.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Can you see that? Can you
Not
see?
Yet.
Okay. Hopefully it's just
Still
loading.
see you. Share the screen.
Is it loading?
Beaming in. Welcome to Helmi and Shane and others. Not yet. Your
browser is preventing access to share screen. Why does it say that? God.
Double check you're still a co-host. That should be. Yep, we got it. Yep. You're screen sharing now. Go ahead.
Okay. So can you see?
Yeah, got it. Oil and gas.
Yeah, great. So this is us outside A&O Sherman again. And this is a press release by Doctors Are Responsible. So yeah, we occupied all the lobbies of the Magic Circle firms, and we all had banners, or each group had banners saying lawyers representing oil and gas clients in 2024 is harming public health, is a weaponization of the law, and is profiting from ecocide and genocide. So quite a powerful statement. And there'll be there wasn't a huge amount of publicity about that at the time, although it did get in the legal and medical press. But there's going to be more coming out because a film is going to be produced, and there's going to be a number of strategically placed articles in different sections of the legal and medical press. So I think this is going to be. It was at the time quite impactful. It's going to be even more impactful next year when those articles come out. Um, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Because I
Yep. We've got
wanted to show.
a
It's
line and
probably
someone
not
with a
going to work,
tie.
but actually, this doesn't even have sound, so I can show you this, and it will be okay. So I'm just going to show you a video of us outside or inside Clifford Chance, if it works. This is our footage, but Sky News picked it up. It's quite funny the way security responded to people holding the banner at Clifford Chance and Canary Wharf.
Oh, is this the moving screens? I saw
Yeah.
something on this. So did they do that? That's a new tactic from their side. Moving screens in front of people. That was brilliant from their side, Jasmine. Sorry, just to say, I watched that and I went, on
Yeah,
to block the banner. Wow, tell us about that. What was happening there?
that's just hilarious. It's like
Classic.
they don't want people to see the protesters, and they tried to put up little barriers in front of them, but obviously people just moved out of the way.
Brilliant.
It's just, yeah, that's like class. Um, yes, that's really good. And then the other thing that happened just last Wednesday was that Extinction Rebellion targeted A&O Sherman as well, which is fantastic because I didn't even know that was happening until like very close to uh, it actually happening. And there was quite a good video. What's all this crap? It's quite. So this got into the. Can you still see my screen, which is on
Yep,
the
yep.
standard now? Okay.
Well directed. Yeah.
Yeah, the standard did quite a good video. I mean, so this wasn't even like all these actions were sort of building on each other. So the doctors and scientists action with the lawyers was an escalation on the climate crisis exhibition because we actually went inside the lobbies. Extinction Rebellion came along last Wednesday and they sprayed like the whole of A&O Sherman with this black stuff resembling oil. It was very, very dramatic. They did an occupation inside and they had the banners that you can see, things like end legal aid to big oil. Um, and you can refuse to work for fossil fuel projects. They had a tripod outside and the Grim Reaper on top, who was setting off flares periodically. They had like big banners. They had like the Angels of Death came along later. They had a samba band at one point. It was all like, just so brilliant and creative. And yeah, I think A&O Sherman must have been like, what the F? Because they've not engaged with us at all. They've just been, ignoring us, frankly. But we're not going to give them any peace if they think that we're going to, just drop it. They've got another thing coming because, we intend to continue upping the ante and just make it unacceptable for firms to do this kind of work and to profit from climate and ecological catastrophe. And the fact that other activist groups have noticed and are autonomously organising their own actions against the law firms is brilliant. That's like really, really, really good. I'm really excited about that, and looking forward to more collaborations. It was a cool video here, but it's gone away. It was about this action. I wonder if I do this, if I can bring it back.
Brilliant actions, all raising awareness and obviously getting the media involved and theatrically,
Totally.
you know, visual
Yeah.
Grim Reapers to oils, really raising
Absolutely.
awareness.
Yeah, so this is Extinction Rebellion's footage, which went up on the standard website. I'll just show it to you now.
So this is on a legal firm, or there was insurance actions recently? Just talk us through what you know.
So this is outside A&O Sherman. This dude was one of the occupiers in A&O Sherman, and he just like lay down. He was the last person to be arrested. It was very articulate. You don't get a sense of that on this. Well, you do get a sense of that on this video, but you can see it's all it was so dramatic that day, and yeah, I just really admire people's spirit. They are fighters and they're brilliant, and I love the fact that the standard just used Extinction Rebellion's video, and you know, Extinction Rebellion have got the subtitles at the bottom about the fact A&O Sherman advises clients across the oil and gas industry, and you know, that's just fantastic, and they've got their logos as well on it. So this action also was reported widely, both in the mainstream press, in the legal press, and again, actually in the activist press as well. And I was very happy to go along and support, because yeah, that's what we should be doing. Stop sharing now. Yeah, that's oh, is there anything else I want to say? Probably not, no. Yeah, was there any kind of questions or any discussion we could have? I haven't been looking at the chat because I've been speaking.
Okay, thank you so much, Mel. That's amazing work you're doing. You've been pioneering direct action and legal frontlining for many years, thanks to the Stansted things and beyond and before. You know, really, really important to see professionals standing up, you know, from lawyers to doctors to teachers to unions to all sorts, you know, professionally trained people who, you know, sometimes have a lot more risk, shall we say, in their professions, and it's really respect for what you're doing and trying to get more lawyers to stand up. So, folks, if you do have a question, there is a react button down the bottom. They've now changed to a heart. You can raise a hand like that. I'll take it off Mel's main view. So if you've got a question, it doesn't have to be a question. It can be a feedback. It can be a comment, whatever it is. You can do that. I've just got one question to kick the ball off to Mel. Is I was checking something recently, and it's basically saying that lawyers or barristers have to take a case, no matter whether they think the person's guilty or innocent or not. And that's kind of some kind of established precedent with lawyers or solicitors, barristers. Whether the person's, they say they've murdered someone or whatever, you have to take it whether you think they're guilty or not and represent them to the best. So what you're saying with law is responsible is somehow countering that, saying if a client comes to me and says, I'm a big fossil fuel industry, you're saying to people, you should buck that trend and say, I'm not going to defend you because I think what you're doing is indefensible or wrong. So that's one question to you. And then over to, I think, Alex and then Helen in Leeds. Thank you so much, Mel. Really informative. Over.
I can quickly answer your question now whilst people like kind of think about if they've got any other questions they want to ask. So what you're referring to is it's a bit more nuanced than how you've described it, but there's a rule called the cab rank rule, which applies to barristers only and not to solicitors. That's along the lines of you have to take any case that comes to you if it's within your competence to do so, and you know, you've got capacity to take it on. That's called the cab rank rule. So when Lawyers Are Responsible launched, it was initially kind of like quite risky for barristers to sign up to that, because they didn't know how their regulator would respond, whether their regulator would take action against them. In the end, the Bar Standards Board, I think it is, didn't take any action, but the barristers didn't know that when they signed it. Yeah, the rule doesn't apply to solicitors. I'm a solicitor. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Over to Alex Elliott in sunny, I'm not sure where, and then Helen in sunny Leeds. Over.
Oh, you're right. A similar question to what Phoenix was just saying. So they can basically turn down sort of cases based on that, and so they've got like a legal protection now from their, say, bosses or regulators, you say. And I suppose you said that was the caveat rule or something. So yeah, I was just sort of wondering about what that was, and I suppose that's the caveat rule. And yeah, I guess the question's answered, but any more sort of stuff on like how that works is interesting. Definitely. Yeah, thank you. Very, very nice talk.
Thank you.
I think.
Sorry.
Sorry. Go for it, Mel.
No, I was. I'm not sure I can add anything further to what I've said about that. I mean, I'm not a barrister myself, but yeah, the barristers are okay to, well, the regulator isn't taking action against them for signing the declaration.
So
Okay.
I had two questions. One I'd put in the chat, and it was like, how do we make MPs realise that we are not criminals, and to get rid of those awful Tory laws that have come in the last year or two? I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know what the answer is. Just keep fighting. Keep fighting.
And
I mean,
the other one is, XR have been doing it was Ensure Our Survival and Ensure Our Future. Have you got any good lawyer taglines to put on any event that might come up?
Off the top of my head, like right this second, no. But yeah, I'm interested in Ensure Our Survival, and yeah, that action that happened last week, that was Cut the Ties.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that really frightens me is these investor-state disputes settlements that people do not even know they exist.
Yep.
And I don't know what can be done about them. And I think the answer is
just keep campaigning and keep
lobbying.
Going. I remember writing an article about that like 10 years ago. It might have been more than 10 years ago now, about how pernicious investor-state dispute settlement, is it, or was.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, the legal system isn't inherently just. It's
inherently legal.
Yeah, it's just about organising, building the pressure, campaigning, and just keep going.
Can you give us a summary of what that investor-state thing is? That where states can be sued by companies if they don't accept certain things, so you can get Shell or someone suing a government saying you haven't allowed me to pollute, therefore I can sue you. Is that what? Explain for the uninitiated.
I haven't really looked at it. I did do an article on this, which is somewhere online. I think it was for like New Internationalist or something about this. But yeah, there've been all sorts of examples where states have passed legislation in the public interest. Like, one example would be passing legislation that to try and like stop people from smoking, or to try and stop tobacco companies from being able to market their products in certain countries on public health, legitimate public health grounds, and then someone like British American Tobacco goes and sues the state, the government that's passed that legislation, saying, you've unlawfully deprived me of profits, and I want substantial compensation now, please. And then other examples, I think this has happened in South America or Ecuador, of states passing legislation to protect the natural environment or protect nature, and banning like mining or logging. And then companies who expected to profit from those activities suing national governments for vast amounts of money, on the same basis, like, you've unlawfully deprived me of profits that I was expecting to receive, and so now compensate me to the tune of
I was gonna say, I think that's why we had a moratorium on fracking and not a ban.
Right.
Because as a moratorium, it can be lifted, therefore they can eventually get their profits. Right. So then they can't sue for a loss of profits because they might get them one day. But if they ban it, then they can sue.
Interesting points. I think Mary Ellen's got one next, but just to say, having had a quick Google search in the background, or web search, usually Cosia, not Google, folks, is Mel's a bit famous on the internet. It says inspirational women here somewhere. And there's a Reclaim the Power blog that I've just posted, and another one about navigating investor state disputes. I mean, you've got a long history. I always think of you as an activist that I met through Occupy and things, but you are a lawyer as well. And I see something come up here on TTIP and what was going on there. And you're also involved, I think you may not want to, you don't want to, on the Stansted 15. I know that was quite intense for you. But, thank you for your service to the planet and the community and the activist thing, and using that legal tool that you've trained up in to push back, which we need to use all the tools at our disposal. So thank you for all of them. And there's a couple of links in the thing there. If you don't want to say any more on TTIP, we managed to defeat that one, I think, or the other one. Come back to that in a minute. Mary Ellen's been waiting from Deepak. Let's take Mary Ellen, and anything else you want to share, Mel, when it comes up. Mary Ellen, over. Big up the Deepak massive.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Mel, and just thank you to you and to Lawyers Are Responsible. It gives me hope that there are lawyers that are fighting and standing with us on this. I wanted to ask you if there's any action that the Lawyers Are Responsible are taking or would take towards the idea of social justice and climate justice being one and the same. And without social justice, we can't get the climate justice we need. We talk about ensuring our survival and our future. The people being hit hardest by air pollution, for example, and the deaths that are related to that, what chance have we got of the lawyers actually standing up and taking those cases and pointing out that the air pollution is, and the flooding, etc., hits disabled people first and hardest, whichever community, wherever you are in the world, and being able to stand up and speak out. Currently, Deepak are particularly involved in fighting the law changes which will allow the government to legalize suicide. And our hashtag for that is Assist Us to Live, and we'd really like to have a lot more support from Extinction Rebellion and other groups to put forward the fact that the social justice needs to take into account the people who have been hit personally, and that's disabled people, and the move now to just say anyone's a burden. The fossil fuel industry is resulting in so many more people becoming disabled, becoming ill, those people are then being classed as you're a burden, you're past your usefulness, etc. So I just wanted to know if there's anything being done towards it, and would you be interested in learning more and joining us to fight for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I specifically, well, firstly, yes, social justice and climate justice are the same struggle. We do talk about we are in solidarity with the most affected peoples, particularly in the global south, particularly the younger generation. On our website, in the aims and vision and principles section, assisted suicide. That is something that we haven't talked about as a group. We're not a very big group. I mean, in terms of like the people who are actually active, it's like most activist groups where it's just like a handful of people that do nearly all the work, even though nearly 200 people have signed up for the declaration. I mean, I think it's good to, you know, I'd be up for having a conversation. Happy to give you my email so we can kind of like chat a bit further about it.
Thank you.
Great. I'll put my email in the chat.
So Mel, I don't know whether you do want to speak about it or not, but the Stansted 15, you actually won that. There's a group doing direct action, and also TTIP came up. We won that. You know, it shows that you have to try everything from direct action to legal to media to all of these tactics working together. You know, were there any tips from those campaigns? I remember lots of leaflets going out about TTIP, and it seemed like it was so massive and it was going to happen anyway. And these big juggernauts of economies say, we're going to do this. We're just going to bring in these World Trade Organization type things, and whatever you do, we're going to do it. And then we managed to campaign a lot, give a lot of leaflets, cause a lot of hoo-ha, and then TTIP somehow got defeated or stopped. I saw you were writing on one of the things there. So any feedback on that, or any tips for young lawyers or campaigners? And then over to the legend, the man himself, Shane in Frome from the Brixton Mafia. Mel, anything there on previous?
Yeah, I mean, God, been involved in so many things over the years. You know, it's all a bit of a blur, really. I mean, I think the I would say that I think the impact of our actions always have a ripple effect, and sometimes people get despondent because they don't feel like things are changing. But I think our actions have an impact beyond what we can see. And so, yeah, we should always recognize that. And I think with TTIP and other campaigns, sort of, you know, you put your bit in, but then other people are attacking it from other angles as well, and then that impacts things. So, you know, it's always collectively we achieve so much. Stansted 15. So that was an action that we did in 2017. We stopped a deportation flight, and as a result, a number of people remained in the country that would have been unlawfully deported, and people who had been victims of trafficking, and it's disgusting they were ever put in that position in the first place. But, you know, pleased that I kind of kept in contact with those people over the years, and they were really happy to be able to like rebuild their lives here. So that was awesome. Yes, but, you know, freedom is a constant struggle, as Angela Davis said, because, you know, clearly you know, the deportations are still happening now, and so we still, you know, that's an ongoing fight.
Respect. I know that was a massive one for you, and they threw some very heavy charges at you, and it must have been very heavy to go through, and you came through the other side, and you know, victory. So maximum respect for coming through that, and you know, pushing back against a very big system. Over to Shane. Always a pleasure, Shane. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you all, and thanks for the talk, Mal. I first missed the first few minutes, but but you know, it's great to see how the law is actually forging a better path at the moment than politics. You know, the Fincham case in Surrey was just so key in changing the way that new oil and gas coal are regarded, and something that, you know, is far more effective than going through the political route. I wanted to ask you about Richard Herman, the new Attorney General, who one had heard some quite good things about before he became Attorney General. There were changes then. But in particular, as regards getting was it an appeal against the police bill that was sort of offing before the elections, and the Tories didn't enact it, but yeah, it looked like a way to possibly getting rid of some of the more pernicious aspects of the police bill, and I wonder if you could fill us in on that, please.
I don't think I've got a huge amount to fill you in on. I mean, I don't know him kind of personally. I mean, I just know the other lawyers in Lawyers Are Responsible, like kind of did know Richard, or some of them knew Richard, and seemed to think that was a very kind of good appointment, and certainly better than Emily Thornberry. So yeah, in terms of the protest laws, I mean, you know, it wouldn't be his decision to repeal things. Whether he's lobbying in the background, I don't know. I think it's great to see that there is a campaign to put pressure on the government to you know, repeal the laws. I mean, I think, you know, this is just my personal opinion, which isn't really worth much, but you know, Starmer is anti-protest as far as I can tell. So it's probably going to be a tough.
It's so ironic, isn't it, that Starmer in the 90s was the good geezer. You know, he provided a lot of background advice to McLibel. He defended us at Twyford, and suddenly he's all changed, and he thinks playing to the Daily Mail and being tough on protest is the way to go. But no, I think it's just part of the culture wars that he's got sucked into, and is losing, really. No, certainly the Green Party, we're getting a lot of ex-Labour people getting involved, and just people in general, because Labour is just so neoliberal, economic growth, same old problem crap.
Yeah.
That's not to say they haven't done some good things. You know, the funding for the NHS was good, and British Energy could be good. Rail nationalisation, if they do it properly and target the rolling stock as well, could be good. But they're done now on water, NHS privatisation carrying on. Sorry, I'm carrying on. But yeah, you know what I mean. It's very ironic.
All good, Shane.
Such a stooge.
It's a really good point, Shane, and just, you know, Malcolm, if you want, we'll wrap up soon. But just to say, you know, I didn't know that Keir Starmer represented Twyford stuff. I knew that he was on the McLibel case. But, you know, it is sad that, you know, you see a situation where the previous regime, shall we say, brought in all these protest laws, and nothing really seems to be. There is talk about some review, but nothing seems to be done to, you know, to challenge these extreme ways of, you know, controlling our, you know, long, hard-won freedoms to protest and stand up for these things. And, you know, we have to try through direct action and using the law. I mean, one of the things that was just mentioned there that maybe, I think I saw Lorraine from the Wheeled Action Group pop in. I don't know, Mel, do you know about this? The Horse Hill Wheeled Action case, some recent, I think Shane might have just mentioned they made a ruling about fossil fuel companies and them having to check. Sorry, my legal brain isn't fully here at the moment, but it's basically they have to check about future. You might want to help me out, Shane or Mel. Any future pollution?
I don't know that case that well, but yeah.
Can that be used a lot more in the future, Shane?
I think it was named after Mrs. Fincham from the Action Group who brought the case, and basically it said that any oil or gas application had to take in, I think it's called the level 3 emissions, i.e. the emissions from actually what come out of the gas well, as opposed to prior they only had to talk about the emissions of installing the gas well and getting it all there. So they didn't have to take into account all the emissions that would be produced when it's in use. And that precedent has been used to stop the coal mine in Cumbria. Rosebank, the Rosebank court case was a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago in Edinburgh. And obviously hoping that that precedent will stop Rosebank, but we won't get the results of that till, I don't know, sort of February-ish. But, you know, that key decision in Surrey, Mrs. Fincham, has really changed any future oil and gas exploration, because obviously Labour had said in their manifesto, no new oil and gas in the North Sea. What they didn't say was whether this was an exploratory license or a production license. So at the moment, there's hundreds of exploratory licenses gone out, which Sunak and various others gave out. But that's very different from an actual development production license. So Labour would be very easy for them to say no new exploratory licenses because they're all out there already. But the key thing is that they don't give any development licenses, and that's why the Fincham case is so powerful.
Brilliant. You're an encyclopedia as always, Shane. I've managed to find it on the internet and post a couple in there for Mel and her friends to use. It's the legal shield and legal sword. We need everything. So I'll come over to Mel really for sum up just after this, but just to say, you know, you need to use every tactic that is available to all of our communities, to all of our activists, to all of the Indigenous communities, and we are the Indigenous peoples of these isles, to stand up to protect our environment, and whether that's direct action outside with banners or getting on rooftops to you know, the legal, and how do we change the policies, and how do we create system change, and how do we stop these things from happening in the first place. But, you know, direct action and legal challenges are some of the front lines. And as we see recently with that Mrs. Fincham, is it, the legal case in Surrey, you can push back and you can win. As someone who represented himself in court for about 25 years, I know that you've just got to keep trying, argue back, and get good people like Mel to come and help and push back. Mel, thank you so much for coming. And to all of the lawyers who are responsible, I hope many more people join you. Over to you for final comments, final words, any way we can help you. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I think you said it all, actually, Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, I'm pro direct action, as you know. Very pro direct action. And yeah, as you said, you know, use all the tools in the toolbox. Legal cases can be effective when it's part of a wider strategy, yeah, you know, we need everything, and when we need people to kind of collaborate, and it's great to be. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, brilliant, folks. We'll wrap it up there on the recording for now. If anyone wants to stay around for 5-10 minutes to chat afterwards, you're most welcome. Tune in next week. We have on the 18th of December, last one of the year, we have Mary Reynolds from wearearc.org, and they are an award-winning, apparently an Irish lady. They won an award at Chelsea Flower Show for rewilding people's gardens, and a big, massive plan all over the country, all over the world, for people to kind of rewild 50% of their garden, and to wearearc.org. Check it out, and hope to see you next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and a great lineup of speakers for 2025. Keep networking wherever you are. Check out the website climateemergencycenter.co.uk and set up a centre near you in a vacant property. And check out Lawyers Are Responsible. Thank you very much to Mel and all your sterling supporters. Any way we can help, keep in touch. Keep networking. See you next week, folks. One love.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.